My name's Amanda Doherty, and here is my mandala. So I titled it Shadow Symbols on a Seeker's Journey. It was inspired by a quote from Carl Jung that says, "No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." So I have a tree going all the way up from the top to the bottom. And I kind of split the scene into two. It's reversed on the screen that I'm seeing, but we have night and day, and kind of like good and bad, the duality of everything represented by this Venn diagram with the holy Mandorla in the middle, which has become a very sacred symbol for me. I have it here on my arm. So I'll just kind of take you through it. Let's see. I'm over here. That's me on this sort of platform, crystal platform as my foundation. I'm staring off at this entire scene. I have the little Venn diagram symbol on my cloak and a staff with fire. And so this is in the daytime, kind of. I have like the cherry blossom trees over here representing life. And I think there was a quote, I can't remember if it was from Jungian or his other ones, but that we are like the blossoms that come in the spring and then leave in the fall, but there's something else there that's more eternal that's behind it. So that's kind of what the tree represents here, is that eternity. I have the infinity symbol here, the snake coiled around it, eating its own tail. For me, a symbol of like self-destruction, beginning with the fall of Eden. But this is something that I find a lot for myself in my own life, that I'm kind of my biggest enemy or my biggest obstacle a lot of the times. I have Abraxas here from Demian, which from the first time I read that really spoke to me instantly, the God of good and evil, that there are qualities of God that seem not so good, not so divine, and we have to accept those and acknowledge them as well, as we are made in his image and we have those good and bad qualities in us. So I'm still kind of figuring out what the importance of that symbol is for me. I have a purple rose here, which stands kind of for cystic fibrosis and finding a cure for that. My little brother has that. He's 18, but I'm 9 years older than him. So I've worried about him my whole life, and he's kind of like a son to me in a way, and taking care of him. And I also have these lungs hanging off here because that's just, a lot of my family members have health complications. So health issues, suffering in that way has always been at the forefront of my mind. Okay, let's see how I have this fan down here. I kind of split things between, like, this is kind of representing more of the subconscious state in a way, like things that I keep further down that I don't want to bring up. So the fan, that my grandma collected all of these beautiful ornate fans, and she passed away several years ago. And even though I love her and I miss her, it's still painful to think about her and talk about it and look at her pictures. And she was a writer, like I write poetry and other things, and she did that as well. And I've not been able to bring myself to read her things, just not ready yet, but I feel bad about that. So that's why that's there. And I have this imperfect circle. It's kind of hard to see, but that's been an important symbol for me, accepting our imperfectness, being okay with that, moving through the world with that knowledge that we're not going to be perfect. And then on the other side, so this is still kind of more in the feel-good area, and on the other side down below I have a ball and chain hanging onto the roots, which for me represents guilt and shame and just the weight of things that are pulling you down. I also have a mask here symbolizing kind of, well, first of all, the masks that we wear, our egos, and how we show up for different people. But I also kind of have like some low-key trauma with an old man mask that one of my horrible grandfathers used to wear to scare me. And so this kind of represents two sides of my family where I come from. The part that I'm ashamed about and that I don't want to think about and tell people, that the trauma part from my mom's side of the family and her childhood, and then the fans, the other side, like my dad's side, and the beauty in that and the love there. I have these ruins coming out of the ocean. I love Greek architecture and columns, so I have these volute style capitals here, and they're falling off, so it's representing ruin and the ruin that we all are and that we're becoming. I have a staff here for representing my being sort of a sheep following God. That's a role that is very comforting to me, especially because I'm Irish, so I just love that idea of being herded through green pastures by somebody else. And I have several symbols of different religions, like the Om kind of is more Hinduism, Christianity, and then this wheel here is like the 8 Noble Truths of Buddhism. They have that wheel. So I like to explore different religions and take from them little bits that resonate with me. I have the setting sun, and in it is the word yes, which is my favorite word of all time. In A Room with a View, which was my favorite book in high school, there's a line that says, by the side of the everlasting why, there is a yes, a transitory yes, if you like, but a yes. And so that word has just meant a lot to me, that no matter what, no matter how many questions, that eternal affirmation of yes is very powerful. So I have here like these helping hands. This is a symbol for counseling and for like connecting with others. And for me, that's very prominent right now because I'm trying to get into internship, and there's a lot of self-doubt of whether or not, I'm going to be able to help people, and kind of this sense of growing up right now for me. I'm 27 and I'm about to kind of start finally this journey of my career, and I'm getting married this summer, so there's just a lot of change moving away from childhood and towards adulthood that is scaring me, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for. And I kind of have some more words down here. I have beloved, grief, grace, self-doubt, guilt, and waverer. I think waverer was from one of the books we read, and it really stuck out to me. And up here I have in this cloud, it says, and what are you going to do? What can you do about it? Deep Blue Night, from Mary Oliver. And so that's kind of referencing this side of it, that no matter how bad the night gets or the darkness, there's always this light in the day. I have a dove up here for grace, the lotus flower growing out of the mud, because we all need mud to grow. And this here is a Thai symbol for strength, which is what I was talking about here, just trying to find my own inner strength and kind of the gold in the shadow that I'm not very comfortable like admitting yet, that I am strong and I am capable. And then here I have books that have spoke out to me that wouldn't be possible if it weren't for human suffering. These just wouldn't exist. So I have Dubliners by James Joyce, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, Rumi, Little Dorrit, and Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda, which all have been very important to me in my life. And on the other side, let's see. So I have the moon. It's kind of split into different things. Here's that Mandorla again. So the different phases of the moon representing our ever increasing, like waxing and waning of wholeness. I have a clock. So this is kind of stuff, I go on a lot of night walks, I should say. I like walking around when no one else is there, and this is kind of the things that come up to my mind. So I think a lot about time, the passing of time, the seasons, my childhood, where I am now. So I have that, but I also have the word now in here, like to be present, which I do when I go on my walks also. I have here is like a grave with my family members' names on it and mine, something that I've been thinking about since high school that kind of started me on my first little bout of depression, I should say, where I didn't know how to handle that. So I'm accepting that, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm not scared to like go down those paths anymore at night because it inevitably comes up. I have this scale here for like right versus wrong, morals and justice. Kind of running out of time, so I want to go a little quickly. I have a bottomless cup here that says ego, and a teapot of validation pouring into it. Kind of the cup you choose to fill has no bottom. That's from Kung Fu Panda, and I loved that. I have the apple here from Eden, or from the Fall of Eden, and the Big Dipper and Little Dipper, which perfectly mismatch, like when one's up, the other one's down. So I have like a broken heart up here, which turns into anger. So like when I'm hurt, I get angry, and that's kind of the spiral, and I have tears dripping down, which are the rain. So I hope that's it. Thank you so much.